Hey everyone, I'm Brady Briggs with another episode of the Combat Logic. Joining me today again is Justice St. Pierre. How are you, Justice? Nice to talk to you again.
Doing wonderful, man. Back home from Florida. Just enjoying myself, really. Just the peace and quiet. My kiddo and girlfriend will be here in the next 2 days, which I'm stoked for. But just enjoying some peace and
Nice
quiet.
and quiet. I feel that. I know all kids or loud kids are. We're gonna be recapping UFC. What was it on ESPN 27? Yeah, UFC on ESPN 27. No, the first fight I want to talk about is the second fight of the night. And it was Ciara Eubanks versus LC Reed. No, I expected Ciara to win this fight, but I don't know. I've watched all of her fights, but I guess I really didn't realize how elite of a grappler she is. Like she's a world champion in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Like she plays in multiple tournaments, but she doesn't have any submission victories on her record. It's so surprising. But she did pick up her first octagon finish. Did you watch her fight? And what did you think of it?
No, yeah, that's actually the first fight I had tuned into. I was a little bit late to the card, but
Yeah, not that much.
her grappling is really good. She has really good control. Pretty good heavy hands, honestly, for
Yeah.
the women's division in general. I can't necessarily say I thought the fight was going to go that way, but it was it was a pretty dominating performance. I mean, just looking at the stats right now, her opponent only landed one significant strike compared to the 22 she did. That's some Kamzat stuff type level.
Right.
So definitely something to look out for in the future. I can't wait for her next fight, and just excited to see what she can do in the future.
Yeah, well, something I want to add to that is this was her return to the flyweight division. I think she came off the Ultimate Fighter. She was supposed to fight for the belt off the Ultimate Fighter, the one Nico Montano won. She was supposed to fight for that belt, but she missed weight. So they put Roxanne in there in like 1 or 2 days' notice, and Nico beat her. But Ciara, I think she would have beaten Nico Montano. I haven't been impressed with her antics or her fights, you know. And yeah, she probably would have been the first female flyweight champion. So after a bunch of losses, it kind of sucks, but I'm excited to see what she can do in the division.
No, I agree on the Nico Montano. As a Navajo, actually, I'm Navajo Lakota. It's very embarrassing to see Nico Montano, just because we got a hell of a fighting spirit, and she just doesn't represent us well. She ducks, she avoids, she gets injured very easily. There's a reason why, as a past champ, technical past champ, she's on the prelims of an ESPN card.
She's probably the most illegitimate champion in history. And you know what the thing is, ducking fights. When she was supposed to fight Valentina, do you know why she pulled out of that fight? Because she couldn't make weight. She made 125 pounds on the dot 3 times in a 2-month span on the Ultimate Fighter.
No, yeah, I mean, she's probably not even cutting too much, honesty. I wouldn't put Montano above 135 pounds outside of fight camp.
Dude, she's not a big girl. Like, I know damn well she could have made that weight. She didn't want to fight Valentina.
Absolutely.
Which is fine, but you're not a champion. Don't call yourself a champion. Don't wear the fucking belt. And she did.
No, and I agree, dude. I agree.
I try not to talk shit on fighters, man, but there isn't a way to respect her for me.
No, yeah, and that's saying a lot, considering, I mean, and I have her probably as the most illegitimate champ too, and I mean,
yeah,
we got Sterling at 135 right now as champ.
Yeah, I think Sterling and probably Carlos Esparza, Michael Bisping, as much as I love Bisping and Esparza. But that's
Bisping's a man of right opportunity at the right time, you know what I mean? So I don't knock him for that, and I was happy that Bisping was champ just because he certainly put in the work. He took his lickings, you know, he took his ass beatings.
Yeah.
Whereas Montano, she never did, you know.
No,
she was just kind of given the belt.
4-3. She won the belt when she was like 4-1 or something. She is 4-3 now, or 5-3. Like,
yeah, I think it was back in 2017. Nothing good.
Back in 2017, man. Like, it's crazy. But next fight, Julio Arce finally came back, and he also changed weight classes. No, he's now 4-2 in the UFC. His only losses are split decisions. Like, he's such a talented fighter. I got to interview him in UFC Rochester. He's such a nice guy. It's like the nicest guy ever. And he picks up a knockout win over Andre Ewell. He's the first person to knock Andre Ewell out in the UFC, I think. That was pretty impressive because Ewell's a good striker. Actually, Marlon Vera. Marlon Vera did, which is again no shame. But what do you think of Julio's performance?
As far as Julio goes, I mean, he's 17-4. And Andre is a very game guy. He's always, his record really doesn't reflect sometimes how good he really is.
Right.
I'm seeing here he's 17-8, but I think Julio did exactly what he had to do, and he did it in exciting fashion.
He did. A very good fighter, man.
He definitely landed the harder shots, obviously, because he didn't get knocked out. Andre did.
Right.
However, it's very again, it's just another guy I'm really excited to see. This whole card kind of felt like I know a lot of people thought it was really Lester, but at the same time, it's one of those cards where the people whose jobs are on the line got to show themselves, the newcomers got to show themselves, or the people that just haven't been the standouts really can show themselves. And I think Julio did just that. I mean, we got a second round knockout, very clean knockout too. Yeah. I mean, Andre wasn't going anywhere after that.
And if people beat Ewell, it's not on the feet. They get him tired and they submit him in the third round. That's generally what happens. That was after almost 2 years, I picked him to win this fight, but I'm so glad he's finally back. He's one of those guys I didn't even realize he was gone. We got so many fighters on the roster now. But then I looked at his record. Oh my God, you haven't fought since 2019. Good on you, bud. That was really cool.
No, absolutely.
Mickey Gall ran right through Jordan Williams. And Jordan Williams was a favorite going into this fight. I don't really know why. I thought it should have been pretty even. But yeah, dude, Mickey's got hands. He's been saying for a few years, but he's finally able to show it. And obviously, his jiu-jitsu is really fucking good. What do you think of his performance? Kind of a break.
I think it's good to see that Mickey Gall can beat other people that aren't CM Punk.
Right.
I think
fights he got CM Punk and Mike Jackson. I mean.
Yep, Mike Jackson.
So, but he did Cage Northcutt right after that. That was impressive.
I think for me with Mickey, I don't really know what to say about him necessarily. I think he's good. Do I think he should start moving up against higher ranked opponents? No. I think he should definitely just maybe 2 or 3 more unranked in fast succession, because he is getting older. He's not necessarily like a little kid anymore. Really, all I could say for Mickey is keep improving, keep grinding, and he'll reap the rewards for it. But I'm glad he didn't, do any call out type shit or call out a ranked opponent, just because I don't think he's ready for that. Honestly, with his body size, you really look at him, that's a lightweight. I've always kind of said Mickey should probably cut down to 155, just because these 170 pounders right now, they're cutting some pretty big weight nowadays.
He's got a big frame, but he's not as strong as a lot of them, I've noticed.
No, exactly.
So, yeah.
So I think I guess for Mickey, my assumption would be he should probably go down to 155, even though it's a better weight for him as far as strength and everything. It's also a tougher division nowadays, I believe, especially with his style compared to a lot of the styles of other top lightweights. But at the same time, even in welterweight, you start getting in that top 5, you're facing wrestling heavy guys, and you don't want that.
No, not when you're a jiu-jitsu guy and you're probably going to get struck by them.
No, absolutely.
Ian Heinisch has kind of just fallen off a cliff, going 1-4 in his last 5 after winning his first 2 UFC fights. Nasruddin finished him on Saturday. That was pretty surprising. What do you think of that one?
As far as got like a bug in my throat.
That's not good.
Hold on a minute.
You good, bud? Well, we lost Justice. See if I can't get him back. God damn it. Well, all right. I guess I'll talk about these few by myself. So, yeah, Heinrich Cliff, like I said. Um, Brennan Allen and Punahele Soriano. That was really, really impressive by Brennan Allen. I picked him to win this fight, but I didn't think he was going to win it the way he did. Puna's striking is insane. He hits so fucking hard. And he, showed that in the first round. Allen weathered the storm, and his striking, man, it's gotten so good. Like he learned a lot from that loss to Sean Strickland about, I don't know, a year ago, 10 months ago, something like that, where he got finished on the feet. See, Allen has always been a wrestling heavy talent that's really strong, that's got wicked ground and pound and pretty good submissions. On Saturday, he showed off a very well-rounded striking attack. Like his knees up the middle, his leg kicks, his head kicks, his punches of all sorts. Like he just looked incredible, man. He's still only like 25 years old. Yeah, he's 25. He's going to be 26 in half a year. Like he has a really, really bright future. For those of y'all who don't remember, this is the dude that submitted Kevin Holland in his UFC debut. Let's see. The main card open was Randy Costa and Adrian Yanez. And man, what a fight this was. Like a lot of us thought after the first round, with how accurate Randy Costa is, with how great his striking is, if that's all the rest of the fight was going to go. I've watched Randy Costa a few times. He doesn't like going past round one. All of his amateur fights are wins, and out of his 6 pro wins, I think so. That's 9 wins altogether, or 10. He's either 3-0 or 4-0 as an amateur. All of those wins are in round one. Every last one of them. And his 2 losses, I saw his loss against Brandon Davis in his UFC debut. He was only 10-4, or 10-4, 4-0. He's only 4-0 going into that fight. Brandon Davis don't have a great record, but he's a good fighter, and he was a massive bantamweight. Cool, we got him back. I think. You back?
I am. Sorry about that.
It's all good.
Froze and I just randomly started dying. I had an itch in my throat. I don't know what that was.
It's all good. I was going with all you. We're on Costa Yanez.
Oh, no, who?
Costa Yanez. Randy Costa and Adrian Yanez, the bantamweight fight that opened the card.
Oh, the main card?
Yeah, when Costa jabbed his face off and crossed his face off, kind of kicked it off in the first round too, and then got his ass beat.
That was also another really entertaining fight. As far as output goes, it was really pretty even, but Yanez was just hitting way harder, dude.
Costa could not miss. His striking is so fun to watch. Like his career almost never even took off. Like he had like 3 years after his amateur career before he started his pro career. Then he had a few years after that first pro fight. And I just hope that he doesn't lose motivation from this, because what I've seen and what I was saying before he came back on, Costa, every last one of his wins from amateur to his pro career all ended in round one. He does not like going past the first round. He showed that in his UFC debut against Brandon Davis. He just kind of folds. And he showed that in this fight. He got hit, and he might have gotten wobbled a little bit, but most people don't just bend over to their knees and wait for the ref to stop it. Like he didn't have the energy. I don't know if that's something he can improve on or not. I just hope he doesn't stop fighting, honestly. Like I love watching Randy Costa fight. And Adrian Yanez, he might be a future champ.
He very well could be. He's looking really fresh and good. I thought both fighters looked good, honestly. Their output was very high for the length of the fight. Overall, though, just a damn good fight. I was pretty happy overall with it. And I can't wait to see either men both perform. I think they're both going to be going places. Only time will really tell.
Yeah. Costa's he's got such an interesting style of his own striking. Like I've never seen anyone strike like him. Kind of like the commentators were saying, it's kind of like kickboxing mixed with karate. I don't really know how to put it, but he's one of the slickest strikers I've ever seen in my life. And
no, absolutely. And I've always noticed with karate, they always like to keep their hands down towards their waist.
yep, he does that.
I was about to say, and he certainly does do that, but he also implements a lot of kickboxing, where you got those straight punches.
He's got
obviously
so much
good
distance.
kicks. What's that, my man?
He covers so much distance with him, and he's so accurate with him. Like it's so.
No, absolutely.
And then I think Yanez is now 3-0 in the UFC with 3 knockouts. So, and not to mention he had to overcome a hell of a lot of adversity in this fight. So that's great. That's a great growing lesson. And now the one we were talking about before we started, Macy Barber versus Miranda Maverick. No, people saying that the main event is a robbery are stupid as shit. People saying this one are a robbery are correct. I want you to tell me why.
I mean, just look at the stats. I mean, of course, it's a round by round analysis for a fight. Just because you dominate one round doesn't mean you won the other two. But Miranda won this fight. Her output was around roughly 85 strikes more. It kind of indicates aggression goes to her. She was controlling the fight. You give control to her. Significant strikes. She landed more significant strikes. She was perfect on her takedowns at 1 for 1, while Barber was 1 for 6. I don't know how you slice the pie and have more of that pie going to Barber. I definitely think they got it just terribly wrong. I don't even think it's not controversial. Whereas you do a poll and ask the MMA community, the whole community is going to say Miranda Maverick.
I don't even think that would be 90%. That's 100% of people. Like,
no, absolutely. I mean, you might find that one troll that wants to just be different, but 99.9999% of the community is gonna have Maverick ahead.
It was right in front of us.
I guess for Barber though, it's good. She was on. She wasn't doing too hot, but nowadays, I guess maybe the win will give her the confidence needed.
Yeah, that's why I said we need to start recording so we don't start saying the same thing more than once. Because I'm glad that she got the nod, because Macy, she wanted to be the youngest champion in history. That's not going to happen anymore. But she lost her first fight to Roxanne Modafferi because she got injured. After that, her fight against, I think, who was it? Alexa Grasso, maybe? I looked like shit. She looked horrible. She was punching from 6 feet away. It was like, it's the worst. Like, she didn't do a damn thing in that fight. And then it was started out, the first 2 rounds were like that in this one. Like, her timing, her distance management, it's just, she lost all that confidence, dude. She wasn't undefeated anymore. She just lost her last 2 fights. And if she lost this one too, that'd be 3 straight. I mean, I know this ain't going to change Miranda Maverick. It would have changed Macy though. Like, I'm almost certain. Going from 8-0 to 8-3, like, that's, every fighter is going to say, fuck my life at that point.
Oh yeah, it's very detrimental to any fighter's mentality, I think, losing 3 in a row. But to go from unbeaten to beaten 3 times in a row. Yeah, that's going to put a toll on your mental psyche for sure. And that's basically the only reason why I'm happy she did win. Hopefully it gives her that mental boost, that edge, whatever's needed. I mean, the skill is there. She's just got to put everything together. I don't think she's a bad fighter. I just think she's a bit of a mentally defeated one. And that happens a lot nowadays. I mean, you got Jose Aldo, who won't even throw a damn leg kick nowadays, it's his best bread and butter.
In a fight anyway.
No, yeah. And I mean, the mental aspect of MMA or sports in general, you can be the very best of the best, but if you're not right in the head or perfectly there, then it's going to start really taking a toll on you.
Yeah, for sure. All right, next one. Derek Minner versus Darren Elkins. This is a fight I think a lot of us expected, because Derek Minner is kind of like Randy Costa in the sense he does not like to go past round 1. Except he has a whole lot more examples to choose from that prove that. And this is another one. Dude, Darren Elkins was taking so much damage in that first round. Like, I don't even want to see him fight anymore, to be honest with you. Like, I was watching him in between rounds, and, he's breathing heavily, trying to get himself together. They're pouring water over him. And it's like, dude, he's not, like, he's going to need a translator 1 year from today so people can understand what he's saying, because we almost can't as it is. Like he don't sound like he's from America. Like it's because he's been hit so many times. And it's sad to me, but he pulled out a really beautiful comeback victory. Actually, last night or Saturday, that was a night of comebacks, actually.
Yeah, Darren Elkins is one of those guys where every fight he wins, he was losing it beforehand.
Yeah.
Just one of those, a comeback type guy, which is totally fine with me watching it, but I can't imagine how Darren feels day to day. Like you said, he's downright American and he doesn't sound like it.
Yeah.
I will say though, he landed an 89% clip out of his strike.
I didn't know.
He landed 66.7% for his significant strikes. His output was insanely high for not even finishing 2 rounds. He had lit off 154 strikes. If you go by, say a 3-round fight, he might have almost honestly had about 300 plus damn strikes.
Yeah.
I just think Darren really needs to learn how to conserve his energy, because 150 damn strikes thrown, that should be that's most 3-rounders or even less.
He needs to
even for his weight class.
He needs to learn how to compose himself better after it gets out of the first round, because I remember his last win over Charles Rosa. It was only going into the second round. It wasn't going into the third. It was in between rounds 1 and 2. And James Krause was telling him, I know you're tired. You need to pull it the fuck together. And he does, and you could see it, dude. You saw the way James looked at him. You saw the way he looked at James after this fight. He's just like, I'm sorry, man. Like, I'm sorry. I fucked up. Like, the first 5 minutes of that fight showed who the better fighter was.
Absolutely. If Darren can just be patient, it would really help him a lot, I think. But he's got to really start thinking about his health. If you look at his interviews from his first win to compared to now, there's a decrease in mental stability and
just the same person, man. Like, and his wife, he was telling him about the post-fight interview. His wife is telling him, I believe in you. You can do this as long as you want. It's like, she's a fucking saint, dude. Because if I was married to someone like that, like a lot of fighters end up getting divorced after their careers are over because they're not the same person anymore. It happens to a lot of them, actually. Like, a lot of these women get tired of it and they end up leaving because they're like, man, my man ain't bright anymore. It's sad. I hope that doesn't happen to Chase Hooper, because he takes a lot of damage too, and he's like the nicest kid ever.
Chase is too young to be taking those types of hits.
Yeah, he's too smart.
I've always said Chase needs 2 years off to just really start honing his skills. He was pushed in way too early. In hopes that he would become a monetary, something to make profit off of, basically. I mean, the UFC is a business, it's prize fighting. But Chase isn't that guy. Not right now, anyways. I always say take 2 years off, and Chase would come out a lot better because of it.
He would.
I don't think he will. But that's a man that leads with his face, and he'll find out really soon that it's going to change him and who he is.
He's working with Askren. He needs to actually be working on his wrestling and not Eminari roles, for one. And 2, he needs a striking coach, for sure. A good
No, damn, yeah, he needs a damn good striking coach.
All right.
No, yeah.
So we got a bantamweight co-main event and bantamweight main event. Paulion Paiva almost got knocked out like 2 or 3 times in the first round and then came back and beat Kyler Phillips. That was pretty impressive. I think Kyler pulled a Michelle Pajea and just used too much energy for no reason, and he got tired and lost the fight because of it.
I saw a lot of people complaining about this decision too, and I thought they got it right.
No, I did. Yeah,
in reality, Kyler beat the absolute shit out of Paiva, really, for the first round entirely. I mean, there wasn't a second that he won that round at all.
Yeah.
But he kind of expended too much energy, and his opponent really took just advantage of that. Yep. He was the fresher guy. He was the guy that wanted it in the later rounds.
That's why I scored the first round 10-9, because Kyler did all of that very carelessly.
No, and I agree. If if they had given him a 10-8 and Kyler ended up winning the fight off per se one round, I also would have been the maddest. But I think his opponent definitely put on enough of a show, enough of, the next 2 and third round just to get that win, really.
Yeah, for sure.
I didn't really have any quarrels with it. When I had seen them, get ready for the decision, I kind of had whatever. I'm sorry, I'm so bad at pronouncing names. But I had Philip's opponent winning, just because, especially with the judging that night, they really seemed to like aggressiveness and control.
Yeah.
And he had that for the next 2 rounds. 2 is always better than 1, unless that 1 is really damn good, but they just didn't see that. So
unless that 1 is Macy Barber.
Maybe a different judges, maybe different night, Kyler could have gotten that win, but I would be surprised.
If at best for Kyler, it would be a draw at best.
Yeah, that's what I thought they were going to do, was a draw, because
it was close. It was majority decision.
No, yeah, exactly. I mean, it really was down to the wire. So.
One more draw on a scorecard would have made it a draw.
Oh, absolutely. So I didn't really have much quarrels with it, just because it was a really close fight. You had one guy who got his ass beat for an entire round, and then he came back and put on a nice show for the next 2.
Yeah, I agreed with the decision. I thought they got it right. Now the one everybody cares about, TJ Dillashaw and Cory Sandhagen. Everybody else has put their opinions out on it thus far. What are your opinions on it? I want to start out by saying you were right in your pick. I was wrong.
No, yeah. I said TJ was gonna bring it to the deep waters and try and get a decision win. I said in the early rounds he might get tagged a little bit, tagged hard, maybe even wobbled, which sort of happened.
Yep, I did that too.
This fight basically played out how I thought of it. I really hate that the MMA community is calling it a robbery.
Me too.
Because when you ask for them how it's a robbery, I get the same video every time. It's another YouTuber that broke it down. And if you have to break down a fight millisecond by millisecond in order to show the winner, it honestly shows it's a damn close fight. I wouldn't have been mad if Cory got the nod. I don't think the judges really noticed the damage that Cory did in the first round to TJ's leg. But that's because TJ...
He put himself in that position. He still won.
I was about to say, TJ didn't... I mean, he slowed down. He had a lot less footwork, but at the same time, he weren't wobbling, hobbling. It was probably very hard for the judges to notice. And these people act like these judges have millisecond to millisecond analysis, when in reality they're just watching the fight live like we are. Based off the scoring, I would give TJ the win. I hate it when someone sits there and says that look at TJ's face compared to Cory's. I mean, look at Nate Diaz's faces compared to anyone he's faced and beat against.
Yeah, I hate that.
The look of damage doesn't mean anything to me. It just shows to me that Cory wore it better. And that's great for Cory. And again, if Cory had won the damn thing, I would not have been upset. I would not be sitting here calling it a robbery. I wouldn't be doing the the second by second analysis that some people are doing. And it kind of shoots those people in the foot, because you can't say a fight's a robbery and you have to do practically forensic analysis to show me that it was,
Well, look at all the tangibles coming into the fight. Like, TJ suffered injuries going in. He hadn't fought in 2.5 years. He had gone 0-1 in the same time Cory had gone 5-1 in. And not to mention, he suffered 2 injuries during the fight. He didn't have EPO, and he still went 4 of those 5 rounds hard. The only one he took off was round 2 to make sure his leg was all right. After he saw it was all right, he's like, all right, I'm getting back to it. And he did. I was very...
No, and I agree.
Cory, man.
Sadly, while they haven't gone to rest, I think a lot of the EPO accusations can go to rest.
I agree. He didn't get tired.
His cardio's still there. Yeah. His energy's still there. And the man, as far as Cory goes, the only really thing I have to say is it should have never have gone to decision. In reality, after the first round, you were fighting a man on one good leg and one good eye.
That he hurt in round 2.
I think Cory fans should honestly be mad at Cory for not capitalizing on that, because I mean, it's a one-legged fighter.
Yeah.
You know, he should have implemented his game plan after the first round to be attack heavy on the legs. If you start kicking that knee that's already messed up,
Yeah.
it's gonna have effect.
And as much as TJ slipped his chances, it's gonna be.
He wasn't even throwing heavy hands towards his bad eye. Maybe that's Cory just being honorable. I don't know, but it got him the loss.
He's not a veteran.
Cory kind of said that too, that he doesn't think he did enough.
Yeah, Cory's not a veteran.
No, absolutely. And I'm always a firm believer that when the fight's super close in strikes, especially significant strikes, you really have to go to the other judging criterias. And Cory was back-footing. He was looking for that perfect counter to land all night because he had the distance on TJ, which I understand. But at some point, if he had just realized that he needs to turn up that aggression, I have no doubt in my mind he could have gotten TJ out of there.
Me too.
But he didn't. So it's really no fault but Cory's. And he's kind of come out and said that. He kind of sneaks little pock shots in his post about
I want to fight back if he'd done more.
Yeah, and that's whatever. Did TJ's face wear the damage a lot more? Absolutely. But let's look at George St. Pierre versus Johnny Hendricks.
Let's look at guys like
some people wear the damage a lot more, and especially TJ, who he had to cancel the fight in general because of a cut on the same exact spot in the same exact area. And look what happened, even taking time to rest. He's still, the immediate time it got punched, he was split open.
Yeah, so that itself, I don't really count as much because it already happened. But no, that's a good point. Like, you get hit one time, have a huge gash. You get hit 400 times, not have a single bruise on you. I always hate that damage argument too, but TJ, his chin looked very much recovered in this fight. Like, he took more big shots and kept going than he ever has before. Like, that
when Cory landed that clean knee, I think it was in the third.
There was a couple of really clean knees he landed on him.
But he literally had TJ's jaw up and towards his cranium. Yeah, and TJ just kind of walked through it.
I think that 2.5 years aids in that.
No, yeah. It might make him a little slower as far as age goes, but even still, he didn't really look that slow with a bum knee.
No, he didn't. He just looked like someone who hadn't fought in a while, needed to get his timing back, which he still did incredibly well considering. Something I wanted to get into. The two greatest bantamweights of all time have known how to deal with this. Dominic Cruz was all 3 years, okay? He finally came back to fight Takei Mizugaki, beats him. Then he has to wait another 1.5 years to get a title shot because he injures himself again. TJ has been all 2.5 years, a belt he never lost in a fight, just like Dominic. In his return fight, he also gets injured. He's also going to be out a while before he fights for the belt. Not to mention, Anderson Silva and Chris Weidman, two of the greatest middleweights ever, and they both break their legs. It's just so crazy how the irony matches with these things sometimes.
No, and I agree. It seems MMA is pretty parallel sometimes in those circumstances, especially the Anderson Silva and Chris Weidman thing.
I couldn't.
The irony behind that is just too damn high.
Yeah, for real. That's who it happened to. Really, you shouldn't be throwing leg kicks against a guy like Uriah Hall when you're a wrestler, anyways. But that's easy to say. But yeah, it's crazy. It's really crazy. I couldn't believe it.
No, absolutely. And as far as Cory goes, Cory's young. He really shouldn't take losing to TJ in a split decision as anything bad.
He should.
I think we haven't even really seen his full ceiling. The guy is the best I have ever seen at jumping knees. How he lands those like that is beyond me, but he does it very well. He executes it perfectly.
You can do it on either side.
And if they fought 10 times, I really couldn't sit here and say, TJ beats him 8 out of 10
times.
Get
5-5.
Literally, it's a goddamn pick'em fight every time.
Yeah.
I did think TJ being an underdog was a little disrespectful, but I also understand it with the long layoff. He is now 35 years old. He's going to start exiting out of his prime. So I definitely do worry about what's next for TJ because by then he's probably going to be about 36, close to
Yeah, he'll be
37.
36 when he fights for the belt because he'll be. Dude, Jan and Sterling, I think, are fighting in October, so he gets the winner of that fight. Which, to be honest, it's going to be Jan. They said around
Yeah,
February.
I have Jan by murder. I think Jan is
Oh
literally
yeah, dude, he's
out there.
He's just too good. I think TJ beats Aljo too, but they'll be ready
No, I
in
do.
February or March. TJ with his leg, I think, will be ready a month or two after that. So yeah, he'll have just turned 36. And I think TJ and Jan is a super interesting fight. They're like two of the best bantamweight strikers ever. The only thing that separates them, Jan doesn't do things that are flashy like TJ does, but he also defends himself a hell of a lot better. How do you see that fight going if and when it takes place?
That's tough.
It
Huge TJ fan. I don't have any love or hate for Jan. I think Jan's a bad man though, for sure.
Great.
I think the real key deciding factor there would be if TJ can keep up with Jan's pace.
Yeah.
He's very unrelenting. He keeps that pressure. And unlike Cory, where Cory stunned TJ a few times in that fight, all he really had to do was follow up with it. Jan will.
Yeah.
And he's never gonna stop. He's just unrelenting, really.
Like you said, he'll push the pace like Cory didn't. It's a very different fight.
No, absolutely.
Jan's his size, so that's good.
I guess I would go Jan. I would probably go Jan in a 5-round fight. I'd probably give him a 3rd round TKO over TJ, which is huge considering what we just saw TJ took.
Yeah, you didn't think Cory would do that. That's surprising.
No, exactly. I just think Jan's an anomaly, and we have a lot of those nowadays in separate divisions. I mean, Francis is an absolute anomaly.
Yeah.
Jan is an absolute anomaly. Alexander Volkanovski is starting to turn into an absolute anomaly. So it's really just about, can TJ conserve himself, land the cleaner shots, and play a chess match? Or is he going to fall into Jan's game of, let's see who can really outpace each other? Jan's going to win that every time. But if, TJ could play his cards right, do some heavy grappling, get that same aggression and octagon control that won him the fight over Cory, he could definitely win it. I don't see him, though, putting out Jan. I don't see him submitting Jan.
He's not going to take him down.
It would be a decision win, whereas I could see Jan finishing TJ in a few ways,
I could, too. All right, man. Well, I think that about wraps it up. I got to go to work in a couple minutes here. But how do you feel about pre-fight for Bellator and UFC either tomorrow or Friday?
I've never been a huge Bellator guy. It's not because I don't find them lesser. I think they've just always kind of capitalized off taking old UFC talent and type of giving them a job.
Earlier on, especially.
I've always been the type of guy that I follow One Championships a ton. I love that organization. And before this YouTube channel becomes famous, I'll even say in 10 years, they'll become bigger than the UFC.
Probably. They already have more viewers because
they average, their viewer average is that of the United States Super Bowl, which is our biggest event of the entire year. It's really crazy to think of, but Bellator, I really didn't follow the recap of the card. I'm not gonna sit here and bullshit. So I just don't really have much to comment on it besides, I hope the best for Bellator MMA. I love competition because competitors make every company better. So I always hope for Bellator to do good. I've just never really gotten seriously behind it.
That's fine. We can just do Hall versus Strickland then.
Yeah, as far as Hall versus Strickland goes,
oh no, we'll do that on another video for the.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, no worries, man.
Are you good tomorrow or Friday though?
Yeah, that works perfect.
All right, cool. I'll let you know what time here in the next couple of hours.
Yeah, sounds good, brother. I'll talk to you then.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks everyone for watching. Like and subscribe. Have a good one.
Take care.
You too, bud.